My mother's ex-husband used to beat me when I was younger. Today I hit him back. No regrets. Story time. Between the ages of about 8-15, my mother lived with and then married this guy who used to hit me a lot. Anytime I spoke back to him, anytime I made a face to show I wasn't happy, anytime he thought I was lying about finishing my homework, anytime I proved him wrong for something, whack, an open hand backslap across the face, and sometimes a belting across the ass with a spoon or belt. We're not talking basic child-rearing taps. Here, we're talking painful, welt-leaving beltings. I told my mother about it, and she never believed me. I told my school counselor, my teachers, and he was asked about it. He played it off like he was just administering punishment for me being a shit, as a parent has a right to do. Of course, it was the 90s. Parents wouldn't get a second look for spanking their kid or giving them a slap if they were really mouthing off. Finally, my mother's employee caught him in the act of backhanding me across the face and told my mother. To her credit, she argued with him, and their marriage was over shortly after. But I think she was just looking for an excuse, and I had to keep living with him, where he hit me more often and harder. After a few more months, my mother met a new man, and I moved in with them at his house. Many, many years later, I'm 30. My mother talks with him now and then, and I haven't spoken a word to him since I moved out. There's a knock at my door a couple of days ago, and there the son of a bitch is, looking older, but still like an asshole, and suitcase in hand. "Hey, son," he says, smile on his face. He used to call me son, though more of a nickname than actually trying to be a father. "What the fuck do you want, Frank?" I hadn't thought of him in years, but all those years later, all the hatred I had for him welled up again. Note, his name isn't really Frank. Well, he looked both uncomfortable and trying to look as friendly as possible. "I told your mother I was in town for a conference, and she said I could come here and see if I could sleep on your couch for a night or two. I just got off the train. It's been ages. I want to hear all about how you're doing. Your mother says you're a photographer. I brought my camera with me." He tried to make his way into my home. "You son of a bitch. You come to my house after 15 fucking years, no fucking warning, after what you used to do to me, and expect to come into my fucking house." He looked even more uncomfortable and asked what he did to me that would make me so angry. So I told him. I reminded him how he used to hit me all the time, or beat me with a belt, how he used to beat me for telling on him, how he used to ask me if I'd done my homework when he caught me reading books, then hit me when I said I had, and hit me when I showed him that I had. "Son, that wasn't beating. It was just punishment when you were bad. All parents do it." He reached over to grab my shoulder, and I shoved him away, telling him to fuck off to whatever hole he crawled out of and never come back. I picked up his suitcase and threw it out my front gate. He then lunged forward and raised his hand to strike me backhanded across the face, but I was too fast for him. I lifted my arm and blocked his strike, then twisted his arm around in that move that most self-defense classes teach you, where you cause pain and immobilize them by twisting their hand in the same direction as their thumb. I held him down like that and made him cry out. "Get your shit. Get back on your fucking train. Never come back here again." And then I pulled my fist back and punched him as hard as I could across the jaw, sending him spiraling. He stumbled away, grabbed his bag, and started begging for me to just listen to him. So I reached into my doorway and picked up a baseball bat I kept there, just in case, and he booked it as quickly as he could to anywhere but my front door. There's 20 years of shit all gone. I've never felt so uplifted. Thanks for reading. Edit, front page, etc. Also, to answer some concerns raised. Never happened? It did. Obviously, I can't prove it, and obviously people are cynical because the internet made them so. But here's the thing. I get my popularity buzz from my photography and praise for it, not imaginary Imgur points. I also don't care if you don't believe me. That's your right. Sounds like a Bruce Lee movie? It wasn't. He stepped forward and went to backhand me relatively slowly, slowly enough that I could have dodged or pushed him away, but I didn't. I've studied martial arts and self-defense, And while I'm not going to win any spars against most others, I've got at least enough under my belt to defend myself. I've successfully done so 4 times against drunks who attacked me. Hurting him was enough. You didn't need to hit him. No, I certainly didn't, and I probably shouldn't have. But tell you what, have a guy hit you every other day for 5 years, making you feel small and insignificant, and have your friends and family all not believe you, and it tends to make the reaction a lot harder to control when it all comes out. Should I have hit him? No. Do I regret hitting him? Not in the slightest. Violence propagating violence, you're going to hit your own kids, etc. Violence isn't always the answer, but I have no excuses to justify it. I'm also not planning to have children. If I did, would I ever hit them? I'd hope not. Is it possible? Certainly. Is it something I'd plan to do or feel justified in doing? Of course not. There is no excuse.